Hey guys, welcome back to the shop. We just put out all of the individual stage footage that we had. Unfortunately, we had some GoPro issues and some things happened during the race that you're going to find out now. So we didn't get all the stages that we wanted to, but I put out, I don't know, 8 or 9 stages. So enjoy those, and now we're going to do a recap video for those of you that don't want to watch the whole individual stages, although we do recommend watching those. It's pretty neat to see the, how the dynamics work in the car. So, but let's get into it. So we just got back from rally in the 100-acre wood a couple days ago. Today I brought the car back out, cleaned it up. We have another race in 3.5 weeks in Kentucky, and then we have 5 days after that before we're back at Bristol. So really we have about 3 weeks to make sure the car is good for 2 more races. They are one-day races, but still pretty rough and everything. So we kind of cleaned the car up, and then now it's time to assess a little bit of the damage that we had from the race, which you guys are going to find out about now. If you follow our Instagram, you might have gotten a few clips of us doing some funny things with the grill at the Airbnb and whatnot. But starting with the front, there may or may not be some dangly bits, and it looks pretty good here. It's sort of solid still. If you watched our stage 16 video, maybe 2 miles in, we had a little off. We went adventuring through the field a little bit and smashed into an embankment at like 60. Luckily, since we have a removable front end, it took it like a champ. Broke the marker light, no big deal. Just pulled the bolt out. It's kind of a dumb design, anyways, but it's just stick that back up.
It's fine.
That's good enough. And this side took the majority of the impact. It really just pushed this bumper up under the skid plate and cracked it in a few more spots, which is no big deal. It actually, looking under the engine, it didn't actually tweak anything under there, just cosmetic, and that's part of the reason why we run these silly bands, which we've talked about in a previous video. You don't want anything mounted too hard, because when you take an impact, if these are bolted, it will break or it'll crush your fender. And the way we have these, it can either tuck under or it can pop over and stretch. So when it took the impact, it just kind of shoved the bumper up and way back, and then it comes back into place. We also knocked this light out. It's just a clip, no big deal. So really very minor damage. We're just having fun with it. But otherwise the car is good. We did find a more major dent on the other side, which we'll show you, which we honestly have no idea where it came from. We rolled into service. They asked what happened. We had no offs, no wides, nothing, but we must have caught a loose rock kicked up from another team or another car, but took a pretty hefty hit on the bottom corner there. You can see all the paint's gone and everything. It's not affecting the door or anything, so we're not gonna bother pulling it out, because this car should have been retired already anyways. But yeah, so we have no idea where that came from. Other than that, the car is perfect. We had no issues. I didn't really get to go over this before, so we'll kind of touch on it now. For the last 3 or 4 races last year, we were having an issue where it was missing on low throttle conditions. So like transiting between stages, it would miss once in a while. Seemed to be correlated to fueling, because the wideband gauge would go lean for a second. We could not find any electrical problems. We couldn't find any sensor issues. It wouldn't throw a check engine light, whatever, but it started getting worse and worse and worse. And at LSPR in October, we started having some pretty major issues where it would barely want to accelerate unless you were full throttle. So, and then in Kentucky, when my brother-in-law Johnny co-drove for me, the last 2 stages of that video, the car was basically in limp mode. Because it actually got so hot from the misfire issue that it melted the vehicle speed sensor on the transmission, and then it had no idea the speed we were going. So the good news is that issue was fixed. It was the injector was locked up. We used our sonic cleaner and fixed it, and then the car ran amazing all weekend. It ran perfect. It stayed cool, no misses. I couldn't have asked for anything better with the car. The weather was perfect, and yeah, we just got to work on our high-speed commitment stuff, which is usually not my specialty. I like technical roads like Southern Ohio, so it was good to get back out there and just really run this thing in 5th and 6th gear all day. And it was scary and awesome, and yeah, we brought it back in one piece. It's begging for retirement, but we won't let it retire because we're behind schedule on the other car. So one other thing to point out is we ditched the pod lights. We had enough issues with those. We got tired of it, and we decided to step it up to some beefy lighting here. So this is the Diode Dynamics Stage Series, and conveniently they are actually sponsoring the ARA for the 2023 season. So this is quad 8-inch light bars, and they're pretty cool. They're wired on 2 different circuits, so lows and highs, so we can operate them independently. I've got different lenses for each one of these that can change from driving to spotlight to flood to fog, and then I have ambers for the bottoms as well, so we can do outside ambers, and in a dust situation we can kill all the lights but those, run them in the dust. And then they have these convenient Deech connectors. Everything is nice and hidden, and it literally goes on the hood with just 2 little, I think these are called Zeus tabs. So you just set it on there, and then you can also change your angles with a wrench between stages. It's a really awesome kit. Doesn't look as cool as the rally pods that everybody loves, but they work so much better. Even now, like if you want to go over here, I can show you how bright they are. You might want to face this way out though, because it'll blind you. But it's basically the power of the sun, and it does not kill the batteries. So those are the lights, normal headlights, high beams.
Normal headlights?
That's the high beams, that's the normal headlights. And then if you go stage 1, stage 2, it is it's serious. It's like piss your neighbors off serious. So
you said there was an amber mode also?
No, I have amber lens covers.
Oh.
So if we know the event's going to be dusty, you take these little 8 screws out, and then you take this plastic cover off and you put an amber one in, and that's how you adjust it. Also, these are all set up for focus pencil beams, but if I find that, like in Ohio where there's a lot of hairpins, number one, I can slide this angle farther out, which gives you more radius, like 180 degree view instead of maybe 120. But you can also put fogs or floods in here, which is wider and shorter, whatnot. You can change it. So I got about 12 different combinations that we can do that are in the trailer and ready to go. So super customizable, way easier than the pods. Lighter. I don't even see these when I'm in the car. Like I can just barely see the tops, but the pods were, you know, real big in the center. So car placement was, yeah, don't worry about that. So car placement was a little hard, but these, amazing. I wish they looked as cool as the pods, but function-wise, 10 out of 10. All right, so let's go inside and show you what we broke, because I'm sure everybody would rather see that. So, this is all the parts that we didn't need during the race. You know, in our effort of weight savings, we thought we don't need a lot of this stuff, so we just removed itself. A lot of you guys are probably thinking like, hey, this looks like Ohio, and yes, it does. If we remember, we'll insert some clips here of us breaking this exact same failure in Ohio on the passenger side, and then I did it again on the driver's side. So, in true fashion, we like to break axles around here. So this was a double failure. It pulled the stub out to start with, and then in the video on stage 8, you will hear a really weird noise like sounds like a clutch slipping. That is this axle breaking and jamming in the back, and then the diff controller is trying to send all the power here because it doesn't have any resistance. And then it's not happy about it. And I noticed at one point that the diff is fully locked, so I knew that this was happening, but I was going to try to make the rest of the stage. Unfortunately, then the CV side broke, which is what holds the wheel bearing in place. And if you know anything about Subarus, once the axle is broken, you have like 500 yards before the wheel bearing falls apart. So it fell apart, and then the wheel came off with the brake caliper attached to it and everything, and the rotor, and it broke the ears off the brake caliper, smashed the hub, ground it down, wheel bearing, all that good stuff. And then what really got us was the adapter that we used to go from a Bug-Eye WRX knuckle to Hawkeye 2-pot rears. This is a spacer adapter. This is not the one that broke because this one is straight, but the other one was twisted and one of the ears was cracked. This is the only piece I didn't have to replace this, so that's what we were grilling on Friday night, trying to heat that piece of metal up, and then we used the weight of the trailer tongue to try to press it back in place on some steel on the ground in hopes that we could get it straight enough to rebolt the caliper back up and zip tie around the broken ear to hold it in place, because nobody had one of these. But it didn't work. Apparently this is like 1/2 inch thick and it's super strong, so Luckily, and huge shout out to the guys at Flatirons Tuning. We buy a lot of our parts from them. You should too. They helped us out in a good way. They had a set of 2.5 RS brakes, rotor, and brake pads so that we could just change the whole corner to a more factory like slide caliper setup, which bolts on our hub. So they gave us everything. And then later on, they broke an axle and a brake caliper as well, so they came back and took one of our brake calipers, so we helped each other out. I don't think they ended up finishing because of the axle later on, but we kind of swapped brake setups around, and we were able to help them, and they helped us too. So yeah, all that stuff broke. We showed up to Park Expose with no brakes, and we interrupted Hoonigan's filming their Ken Block tribute because their daughter Leah was racing right in front of us. And we kind of interrupted their filming to bleed the brakes so we would have at least some brakes for the rest of the day 2. And luckily the crew was amazing and they got all the brakes bled. And then we had brakes for day 2. And we went and made a bunch of time back. We won our class and we tried to work our way back up. We were going to finish top 3 overall regional, but I couldn't make the 10-minute penalty back up. I think we made like 6 minutes of it up, but we couldn't do it all. So yeah, we broke all that stuff. And now we will figure out how we're gonna stop breaking axles because it's annoying.
So what are we gonna look at next? What's next? What do we have to look forward to before McCreary?
This weekend we are going to pull a transmission out of the rally car, show you guys what we broke, which we're pretty sure is just the gear selector, which I don't know if we showed you in the video or not already. But I'll show you then. I have the part to replace it. It's a billet piece made from IAG because obviously people break them. But once I confirm that, I will. And then I also ordered a R180 rear diff because we were still using an R160 and some 1,000 horsepower axles over there for the rear. So if we break those, we're really doing something right because we really like to break axles. So yeah, we're gonna get that fixed back up, get the diff in and the axles, then we're gonna reschedule the dyno. Maybe with the nitrous hooked up this time. We'll see if we have time just to kind of capitalize on it. And then we need to get back on the green car because we are behind on it and we have the customer build coming back from Cage soon too. So yeah, we have a lot of stuff to do. I really want to get rallying with this green car, but the more stuff that's been happening to the white car with, you know, breaking parts and how rough the body's getting really makes me want to like focus on the green car and take my time with it. Stitch weld everything, proper underbody protection, all the stuff that we've learned so that when we debut this one, that's it. We're good for a while. And if we build another one, we're going to do something wild. We're not going to do another GC. It'll be like a Forester or probably a Forester because we like Foresters. But if we build another rally car, it's going to be something wild. But this one should be like our pro level GC. So all that's upcoming. Stay tuned to the YouTube channel. Make sure you guys check out our Instagram and everything. We should have a bunch more pictures and content coming up. Feel free to give us a like. It really helps us out. And we're also looking for partners for 2023 in preparation for a national championship run in 2024. We haven't really announced that we're doing that yet, but this is the first time we're mentioning it. So if you want to work with us or you know somebody that might be wanting to work with us, we'd really appreciate it. We can kind of figure out how 2023 goes, and then 2024 we're going to do the whole country, a big national round. So stay tuned.